Hello, good morning, and welcome to this YouTube live. I'm so sorry if you were watching me at 10 o'clock. I had to stop the live because, unbeknown to me, there is a lot of building work going on outside my neighbour's house this morning, and they've been drilling and bashing, and I didn't know this was going to happen, and I couldn't hear myself think, so I had to stop it. Anyway, I don't know whether they're going to continue, but I'm like, I'm going to do this anyway, so I'm just going to pretend that it's not happening. And hopefully you can't really hear it. They've stopped at the moment. So let's see if I can get through this quickly before they start drilling again. But today we're talking about, is your voice losing you money? And be really interested to know if that topic triggers you, that question triggers you. Like, how dare you ask me that question? So just start to pay attention, or do you think, yeah, actually this does, this is losing me money. So again, we just want to pay attention to all of these things because it's telling us something, it's teaching us something. But that's the topic for today. Because actually, when we have a fear of success and a fear of making money, we actually push it away. And one of the ways we push it away is through our voice. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, the different ways that we actually push away greater success, making more money through our voice. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Anuska Taylor. I'm a voice coach, an executive voice coach. I work primarily these days with professionals, speakers, anyone that really relies on their speaking voice to make a greater impact. I'm a Jungian life coach, hence all of this work around triggers and persona and shadow, big part of what I do to help people really understand the vocal habits that they've created. And also, I'm a singer-songwriter, so I bring the expression and the dynamics and the performance side as well to the table, which is really important because a lot of speakers really don't like to see themselves as a performer, but you are. Performer isn't a dirty word. It just means you're standing in front of people and sharing your message, whether it's through song, dance, speech, whatever. So a lot of us, including myself, hold a lot of negative messages around money and success. And, I mean, I lived in Australia for 12 and a half years. And they have this expression called the tall poppy syndrome, which is basically this idea that there is this, people get criticized. People don't like people that are successful and are making lots of money. And we see this in our world all the time. People get criticized. We don't like it when people are doing really well. And so we assume on some level they must be doing something illegal or criminal, or they must be ripping people off. They can't possibly just be doing something good in the world. And I've had to do a lot of my own money shadow, success shadow work, which is a big part also of what I help clients with. Because particularly if you're coming to me for your business or career, then if in any way your voice is sort of pushing people away and it's shutting down, then on some level that you're pushing away success, greater success, and making more money. So the ways we do this with our voice, which I'm going to go into in more depth in a minute, is either we just avoid speaking completely, as in we avoid public situations, public speaking, keynote speeches, workshops, events, fill in the blank, summits, etc. Or we do these things, we do put ourselves out there, we do speak, but we are unconsciously still pushing people away. We're still avoiding. We're just doing it now through our tone of voice and the way we use our voice. And so that's what I'm going to talk about in a moment, around those two different ways that we push away greater success and making more money. So let's talk about, first of all, money stories. Stories. And when I say stories, these are the ego stories, because it's all ego when it's fear-based and lack-based. I think for pretty much every single person, whether you grew up with money or whether you didn't have money, it doesn't really matter, because ultimately we are all given these stories that on some level money is limited, we need to hold on to it, and it's bad if we have lots of it, and there's only so much in the pot, and so if I spend it, it's gone. If I've got it, then there's less for someone else. And so for a lot of us, we're given these stories around money is evil, it's the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. It's rich people are bad, mean, or selfish. How many times have we heard something like that? And even in our modern world, when we watch sort of film and TV, often the characters that are incredibly wealthy are normally also kind of evil, criminal. They're doing something illegal, criminal, or wrong. You know, they're hurting people, hurting animals. They're doing something that's not very pleasant. So unconsciously, we're getting this messaging from a very young age that having money is not a good thing. People won't like you. People will disassociate themselves from you, or they'll only like you because of your money, and then it's a superficial relationship anyway. So it's not either way. However you cut the cake, it's not great. Success is the same as well. And I think when we really start to do the shadow work around success, we see that we can often have a lot of fear around increased responsibility, whether that's with hiring staff or having more customers or clients. What does that mean? What if they don't get a result? What if they're not happy? What if I can't pay them? What if I can't keep my employees happy? Etc. etc. And obviously, with success comes greater judgment, comes greater criticism, because you have more visibility and more attention on you. So a lot of us, whether aware of it or not, are pushing this away all the time. So we say we want more success, we say we want more money, but actually there's this real fear. So we have one foot on the brake, one foot on the accelerator, and we only allow a little bit in, and we sort of fly under the radar. You know, we allow enough in just to kind of fit in our society, you know, pay our bills and be a normal person, but we don't allow real wealth and abundance into our life, because God forbid people might not like us. And that's what it always really comes down to for the ego. It is about fitting in. And as I said, all our messaging really around success and money, it's really heavily tinged with a lot of negativity. If you perceive yourself to be very spiritual, you know, rich people aren't spiritual, all of this stuff. So this is going to be driving everything. And so what you'll do is you will push it away, either consciously or unconsciously. So how about now, just to give you an alternative to this, that you just start to see money for what it really is, which is neutral, neither good nor bad. It's in the hands of the beholder, really, that makes it good or bad. If you give it to someone that's evil, then they're probably going to do more evil with it. If you give it to someone that is very generous and open-hearted, they're going to do more generous, open-hearted things with that money. So money in itself is not good or bad. But what money does give you, it's a resource, and it allows you to make a far greater impact in the world, to be more, to do more, to create more, to reach more people, to help more people. You know, think about hospitals. They are normally have names on a plaque outside because they are normally funded a lot by donations, whether it's schools, hospitals, hospices, fill in the blank. So the more money we earn, the more great things that we can do and the more people we can reach. And even if you just think in your own life, I mean, even in my business, you know, there's things that I need money for: hiring venues, I have to put deposits down if I'm doing a show, you know, hiring people, musicians, you know, things like travel and certain services and things that I might pay for. But we all have that. And maybe you have an office space, maybe you have staff, maybe you have you hire I can't speak this morning, which is not good. You hire consultants to help you, for example. So all of that, you need the resources. And the bigger reach you want to make, the more resources you need. So let's just reframe this for the ego as this is a good thing. The more money I make, the more I can do in the world. The more good I can do, the more I can contribute, the more I can get my message, my gifts, my talents, my products, my services out to the world, because I can reach more people. But also with success, you know, as I said, for a lot of us, we're not even really aware until we do the deeper work. But success comes with a fear of responsibility, fear of commitment. I think a lot of us have fears of commitments. Um, and when I have greater success, I have more visibility. And with visibility comes bigger stages, more airtime. I'm more likely to be invited on TV to be interviewed, or on the radio, or on a podcast, like a big podcast I'm talking about here, one with like millions of downloads. You're more likely to get these bigger stages and opportunities to speak and share your message. So that's a positive thing if you're coming from this place of, I have this gift, I have this talent, I have this thing in that I really need to share in the world that's actually going to make the world a better place. It's not a selfish thing, it's actually me wanting to help more people. So it's going to give you a bigger platform, it's going to give you a bigger stage, which you can do enormous good with if you channel it in the right way. So when you combine the two, more resources and more opportunities with bigger stages and bigger opportunities, there is so much great you can do in the world. So how does this show up in our voice then, if we aren't sure whether we really fear success and making money? Well, as I said, I think it's, first of all, we can either just completely avoid public speaking opportunities. And so we might avoid going for that promotion. We might avoid, pitching to investors. We might avoid just running that particular event. We might avoid, moving organizations and working in a much bigger company where we might have a bigger team, more opportunities to speak. We might be given opportunities, would you like to speak at this event next year? No, I don't want to do that. And it's really interesting because a lot of people that I speak to in my consults will say to me, I know that I am pushing away opportunities. They know that they're doing it. They're like, I know, because I don't really trust my voice. I don't really like my voice. I don't really trust what's going to come out when I'm nervous. And so they know that they are deliberately sort of pushing away opportunities. Now, sometimes these people might then dip their toe in the water and say, you know what, I might actually just give that workshop a go or give that keynote a go. And then they get a negative response and then they run back to safety. Now, this is not to beat yourself up. This is just the ego trying to keep you safe. But it's really recognizing that, is this really what you believe you're here for? Do you believe that there's something greater that you're here to do? And you've got to get to a point where your passion and your desire is stronger than your fear. Because when it's ego driven, the fear drives the show. The fear runs everything. And often I find with this group of people, they are the ones that know that they're holding themselves back, but they're not willing to actually do anything to help themselves. So they're normally the people that will never invest in voice coaching. They will tell me all the reasons why they're not making more money, and this is happening, and I know I'm, my voice is this, and I'm not taking this opportunity. But they're normally the people that will ghost me. They're normally the people that will say, yeah, I know I need to do this, and then I never hear from them again. Because on some level, they're not really ready to step into it, because they know that working with me, I will really catapult them out of their comfort zone, vocally and otherwise. And this is what a coach does. A coach sees your potential and really supports and encourages you to leave your comfort zone. So they know that working with me, they can't stay in their comfort zone anymore. But at the moment, they're still too attached to the story of, I can't do it. I don't trust my voice, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just going to stay in my little comfort zone cave. And that's okay if that's where you are, but just sort of own it. And all I would say, if that's where you are, is just start to think about how it's really holding you back from making a bigger impact. And how long do you think it's going to take for you to feel any different? Because actually, when you're coming from ego, the ego will always have a story, it will always have a reason. It is what I hear all the time. It's like, oh, well, now's not the right time, but maybe in a couple of months. And then a year goes by and I don't hear from these people, because it was never really about that. It's about the ego fear driving everything. So you've got to get to a place where your desire and your passion and your purpose is much stronger than your fear. Even if it's like 5% stronger, That has got to drive. If the ego's driving, you'll never do anything. And you will stay in this comfort zone for years, potentially. Now, the other side of the fence, so there's the people that just don't put themselves out there and know that they're not putting themselves out there. Then there are people, which are usually the people that I end up working with privately, are the people that do put themselves out there, and they do take opportunities, and they are doing a podcast or running a workshop or whatever, fill in the blank, whatever it is for them, going for that promotion. But unconsciously, they still have this fear of success and making money. So unconsciously, they shut their voice down, because on the surface, it's like, yeah, but I'm doing everything. I'm doing everything right. I'm putting myself out there. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. But actually, they still have the fear of really stepping into their greatness, really stepping into this success and this money. And so it shows up in the voice. And now I've talked about this in other videos before, but some of the main ways we shut our voice down so that we can't really be heard: talking really fast. Very often people talk fast so they can just get through something as quickly as possible. Don't listen to me, don't listen to me. Let me just talk really, really fast and then we can move on to the next person. When we mumble, again, no one can really understand us. It's kind of the same thing. When our voice is very monotone and lacks expression, it's just, people just switch off because it's just boring to listen to. But unconsciously, we don't want people to listen to us. Unconsciously, this is exactly what we want. Don't listen to me. I've got nothing interesting to say. I don't want to be successful, unconsciously. So the more I hold on to these vocal habits, the more I limit my success, the more I limit the opportunities that come my way and the money I make. Because if I sound boring, then probably no one's going to want to buy from me. If I don't sound like I'm particularly excited by what I'm selling or promoting or whatever, fill in the blank, then probably no one's going to really engage with me. No one's going to want to work with me. So start to pay attention to your perceived vocal habits and how they are shutting your voice down. Because if your voice is not open and free and expressive, which is absolutely capable of being, regardless of your accent, then the ego has got its little paws all over it. And it's like, no, let's just keep you stuck. Let's just keep you in this cage, and we're not going to let the voice out. And this is really what happens for people, but they are not aware because they perceive that they're taking the action. And this is where the unconscious is so powerful, because the unconscious is driving everything. So see the voice as just a reflection of what you really think and feel about yourself. And so if you are speaking fast, you are mumbling, you are not speaking with much energy and expression and melody, then on some level you don't want to be heard. And you are pushing away success and more money. So as I said, this is the root of it all. And really the root of it, the root of it all, is a fear of people not liking us, a fear of being rejected, a fear of being abandoned, a fear of not being loved and accepted. That's really at the root of it what we all fear. So we just want to fly under the radar, and we just want to fit in. I just want to earn enough money so I'm kind of like everyone else. I just want to have enough success so I can sort of have this business, but I don't want wild success and wild amounts of money, because God forbid, people probably won't like me, and they will be jealous, and they might be cynical, and they might judge me. But we've got to start with ourselves. Do we judge people that have money? Are we cynical of people that have money? Because if you have any negative judgments, criticisms, cynicisms about people with money, you are never going to allow money and success into your life. So you have to start really celebrating people who are doing really well and who are doing really good things in the world as well, because there are plenty of people that make a lot of money who do really good things in the world. And just as a sort of final point, because in my world of the voice coaching, I suppose that you could put it under the sort of musical umbrella. I mean, I started as a singing teacher, so part of that sort of musical umbrella. And there's a lot of that kind of starving artist mentality in my world. And so often people don't charge very much as a musician, as a music teacher, voice teacher, singing teacher. They charge very small amounts for their services, even though they might have gone to university or college and studied for years and trained for years and put enormous amounts of time into their craft. They still think, well, I can't charge more than £30 an hour. And I used to be that person. And when I very first started, I didn't charge anything to work with me. I just wanted to get some experience. But then through my own journey of all the shadow work and really understanding that really I'm just hurting myself ultimately, and hurting the world too, because I'm not allowing people to really experience the fullness of who they are, I started to increase my fees. And I know that I'm quite different to a lot of other people out there in this capacity. But what I came to, and this is what I want you to start to see in your own life as well, not just when you're looking for a coach or a teacher or someone, but even, in what you charge, or when you go for a promotion, what you ask for in your promotion, is when I charge you higher fees, I'm really charging you up. I'm really lighting you up. I'm lighting that fire within you, that powerful, that infinite part of you, that part of you that's full of potential to really go out into the world and create bigger things. If I charge you £30 an hour, for example, I'm agreeing with you. I'm reinforcing your ego story that you're small, that you're limited, that you're powerless, that you have no capacity to actually create incredible things in your life. So that's one of the reasons why I charge what I charge, because I want to charge you up and to really get you into that mindset of abundance and that mindset of possibility and potential, because it's open to everyone. And also because I know the value in what I do as well. And so a lot of the time it's, what we charge is a reflection of our own perceived value as well. And again, I've had to do a lot of work around this, but just start to think about that as well. It's not really serving you to pay peanuts for things, because it's reinforcing your story of lack. And really and truly, when we connect to our true self, this highest part of ourselves, that part of ourself is infinite. It's full of potential and it's abundant. When we are, focused on the small self, the ego self, the limited self, that's the part of us that feels separate, that feels small, and that feels powerless. And that's where a lot of, people are operating at. But for me as a coach, it's about charging you up. It's about inviting you to step into who you really are, both in terms of, you as a person, but also your voice and what's possible with your voice. So on that note, if you are interested in working with me, it's a £5,000 investment if you pay in full. But if you want to start in January with me, you can split the payments across 4 equal payments, 13, 12, 50. So you would make a payment now, and then you would start in January, and then it'd be January, February, March would be the payments. And or if you want to start in January, you can split it across 3 payments. So it just depends on when you want to start. But basically, if this is interesting to you, I would love to speak to you. And you can book a 30-minute consult below, which is fully refundable should you continue working with me. If not, even if you choose not to work with me, you would still get enormous value from that call. Or you could book a 60-minute coaching session if you want to get a real sense of what I would actually do with you, how I would work with your voice, how I would kind of start to open you up to your potential. So yes, it's a big investment, but as I said, it's about charging you up. It's about really you seeing the potential in yourself. And also, as I say, because I know the value in what I do, and it's very actually almost impossible to put a price on it, because ultimately it's your voice and you take it with you everywhere you go. But it's also more than your voice, because it's really how you show up in the world, and everything we've talked about today, how you perceive yourself, how you perceive success, how you perceive money that you allow into your life. So I hope this has been interesting and helpful. Again, I'm podded in at 10 o'clock this morning, and I closed down the live because I couldn't hear myself. But hopefully this has worked and it hasn't been too distracting. There's been a little bit of drilling, but not so much as there was earlier. So thank you so much. Take care, and I will see you next week.